My dad could buy your career, your courthouse, this whole city. So let's stop pretending this matters. At 22, wearing a designer suit and a watch worth more than most people's cars, he looked at Judge Frank Caprio, as one might look at a waiter taking too long with the check. Judge Caprio set down his pen slowly. Mr. Ashford, did you just threaten to buy my career? Preston smirked. I'm not threatening, Your Honor. I'm explaining reality. My father is Preston Ashford III. Google him. For $0.2 billion. When he makes a phone call, things happen. This whole situation will disappear by Monday. Judge Caprio studied him. You seem very confident. I am, Preston replied. I've been in worse situations. They always disappear. Little did he know, those would be the last confident words he'd speak for a long time. In the fourth row, a woman sat perfectly still. Rebecca Thornton, Becca, 31, dark hair pulled back, circles under her eyes from months of sleepless nights. Her hand rested on her stomach, a habit even though there was nothing there anymore. Her husband, David, held her other hand tightly. She didn't watch Preston with anger, but with something harder to name. A need to see if there was anything human inside the boy who had taken everything from her. Preston didn't notice her, too busy smirking at his lawyer. The bracelet under her sleeve read, Rhode Island Hospital, discharged October 3, 2018. The week she buried the daughter she never got to hold. The clerk read the charges with a formal British accent, though nothing about them was gentle. Reckless driving, running a red light, speeding over 30 miles above the limit, failure to render aid, vehicular assault causing serious bodily injury, and negligent homicide. Preston scoffed. Negligent homicide for a fender bender? His lawyer rose to dispute the charges, but Judge Caprio cut him off. Your client was driving 65 in a 35 zone while texting, ran a red light, and struck another vehicle. A woman was hospitalized. And something else happened that night, didn't it? Preston shifted, his hand trembling as he reached for water. The file revealed the truth. The victim, Rebecca Thornton, had been 18 weeks pregnant. Emergency intervention was attempted. Fetal demise occurred at 3:47 a.m. due to placental abruption from blunt force trauma. Preston still hadn't looked at the gallery. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the ER physician, testified about Becca's injuries. Her first terrified question, "Is my baby okay?" and the devastating truth that followed. She described the emergency procedure, the failed attempt to save the child, and how Becca held the tiny body for 3 hours, naming her Lily Rose Thornton. The courtroom was silent. Preston whispered to his lawyer, I didn't know she was pregnant. But the officer's report proved otherwise. That's not my problem. Dashcam audio played. The crash, shattering glass, a woman crying, "My baby, please someone help." And then Preston's voice, "Oh man, my dad's gonna kill me. This car is brand new. She probably doesn't even have insurance. Someone call my lawyer." A witness testified he had seen Preston step over the bleeding pregnant woman to check his car. Judge Caprio confronted him. "A woman cried for help, calling for her baby, and you were worried about your car." Preston stammered, claiming shock, but records showed his first calls were to his lawyer, then his father's assistant, and only after 11 minutes did 911 get called by a bystander. The clerk's phone rang. An international call. Preston's face lit up. "That's my dad." On the courtroom screen, Preston Ashford III appeared from a private jet, expression unreadable. Preston waited for a miracle. Instead, his father announced he was being removed from the family trust, cut off from all accounts, with no financial support. Years of covering up DUIs, assaults, and property damage were exposed. "I thought I was protecting him," his father said. "I was creating him. This incident is too public, too damaging. A woman lost her child, and my son was worried about his car. That's a character failure." Preston's voice cracked. "You can't. I'm your son. You're a liability," his father said. Judge Caprio revealed the victim had been fired while pregnant, and Preston's father had once deemed pregnant employees distracting and unreliable. The video call ended abruptly, leaving Preston staring at the blank screen. Judge Caprio invited Rebecca to speak. She described her years working for Preston's father, being congratulated for her pregnancy, then fired 2 days later. She told the court she had just heard her baby's heartbeat before the crash. She looked at Preston. I lost my job because of your father. I lost my daughter because of you. She wasn't seeking revenge, but understanding, to see if there was anything human in him. Preston whispered, I'm sorry, but she challenged him. Was he truly sorry, or only sorry he got caught? Then Preston broke open. His father's rejection had crushed him. He admitted he had spent his life trying to earn even a moment of approval. Every accomplishment dismissed. Every failure met with silence. Outrage and arrogance were the only behaviors that ever got attention. I don't want to be an Ashford anymore, he said, tears streaming. He turned to Rebecca. He hadn't known about the pregnancy, but recognized that ignorance wasn't an excuse. I stepped over you because I was trained to step over people. His sobs were real, unpolished, and raw. Rebecca walked slowly toward him. She told him she had seen how his father treated him, how constant criticism shaped him. Hurt people, she said. I hate what you did, but I think I understand why you are who you are. She couldn't promise forgiveness, maybe never would, but she wanted him to become someone who would stop, someone who would help, someone who would care. Her husband David then offered Preston a job, the ultimate challenge to see if he could change. Say the baby's name, David instructed. Lily Rose Thornton. Preston whispered it. David told him to remember it every morning and let it guide him. Judge Caprio spoke with decades of courtroom wisdom. You've spent your life wearing a mask, but that's not who you are. It's what you were trained to be. Then, in the moment the courtroom had waited for, he said 3 words that Preston had never heard from anyone. I believe you. Preston froze. No father, no mentor, no friend had ever said that to him in 22 years. The words hit harder than anything else. The sentence was carefully measured. 2 years probation, $50,000 fine paid from his own earnings, 500 hours of community service and grief counseling, a year of therapy, 2-year license suspension, attendance at Lily's memorial, a letter to Lily, and a return to court in 90 days. David Thornton offered him a real job at his warehouse. 6 a.m. start, to show up, work hard, and prove himself. 90 days later, Preston returned. Hands calloused, worn boots, humble clothes, arrogance gone. He described the grueling work, the physical pain, the growing respect from co-workers, attending the memorial, and reading his letter to Lily. He said her name every day, morning and night, to never forget the life he took. Judge Caprio looked at him. 90 days ago, I said, I believe you. I meant it then. I mean it more now. You've started becoming someone real, someone who shows up. The work isn't over, but you've started to find out who you are without money or a name. You've begun to live for something larger than yourself. The gavel fell. Respect, redemption, second chances. Preston Ashford had learned some things could never be bought, only earned.